Good morning, everyone. My name is Stewart. Very pleased to update everybody on Mistango River Resources plans for the future, our cash, our partnership, and most importantly, our drill program. We're going back on the Kirkland West project in the very near term. New results just were released. More details forthcoming, but the bottom line is we're going back and we're drilling right next door to the 𝐾𝐨𝐬 gold mine, Canada's richest gold mine. The only difference is this time is we have a lot more cash. We have $7 million in the bank, but the best part is that not a dollar of that's going on to our properties as it is, because we have a partnership, strategic partnership with Kirkland Lake Gold. As I always say, the most coveted major in Canada to do a deal with. They saw what we saw on the Kirkland West project, which is the opportunity to expand the third largest gold ore body ever mined, which is the Kirkland Lake ore body, which Kirkland Lake Gold is mining from on their 𝐾𝐨𝐬 mine in the South Mine Complex. 20 grams per ton material. Highest grade gold mine in Canada. We're immediately adjacent to it to the west. We did a drill program earlier this year. As everybody will know, we have not found the extension at this point in time, but it's just getting started. We now have $60 million to test our thesis and find this ore body. We believe it's there. I believe $60 million is going to prove that, hopefully much sooner than the $60 million is spent. But the point being, that's ample capital to prove our thesis. So let's get started. Here's the forward-looking statements. I will make many. Our highlight, I think it's critical. I'm extremely proud of this Kirkland Lake deal we did. There was a lot of work and effort that went into this. Not only am I proud to do a deal with Kirkland Lake, but I'm proud my job primarily is to finance the discovery of ore bodies in the least dilutive way possible. The way this is structured to get Kirkland Lake in to own 9.9% of our shares. And then on top of that, commit $60 million in drilling, which gives Mistango a free carry and until they've earned that 75% interest. So that to me is very interesting, and also to leverage their experience and knowledge of the project. We've spent the last 2 months going back and forth. Well, in fact, we knew very quickly what we were going to do with Mistango and Kirkland Lake. It's clear the focus is going to be in our KOS project, even though we've got the Omega, which is a phenomenal asset. And in fact, the reason we went and acquired our interest in Mistango was for the Omega, and it's near 600,000 ounces. If you do the math on a multiple there, you're getting everything, our cash and our interest in Kirkland Lake, for free if you just value the Omega. So I think it's a really interesting package that we put together here, which becomes extremely interesting when you consider our partnership with Kirkland Lake and the fact that we're going back to the drill bit right now. Eric Sprott, of course, a well-known shareholder of Kirkland Lake, as I've said before, and I should note that Ore Finders owns about 19% of Mistango River Resources. That dates back to when we took over Mistango back in 2019. It was a hostile proxy battle. Mistango was less than $1 million, had management team that wasn't aligned with its shareholders, and we took on a management proxy battle, and we beat the odds. We took substantial risk and we beat the odds, because I assure you the odds are stacked against you in a junior mining hostile proxy battle such as that. And since then, it's been a big success. It's been a roller coaster ride. There's no denying that. It's been up substantially. It's been back down. But I think our fortunes are going to go back up, given our cash position, our ability to transact on new opportunities outside of anything that I'm going to talk about today. But that's where our $7 million in treasury will be devoted to. And then again, this partnership and financing structure that we have to, again, spend $60 million to find that extension. If we can find an extension, I don't even think we need to define a resource. We just need to find an ore chute that defines the gold from the Kirkland Lake ore body, comes into our property, and then our shareholders will be rewarded substantially. That's how we see it. Corporate overview, very simply, if you look at our basic market capitalization relative to our cash, there's no marketable securities in this instance, but there's, our enterprise value is what, $4 or $5 million, virtually nothing, considering the land position that we have. Truly enviable to have 4,000 hectares beside Canada's richest gold mine in production on a ore body that has gone from east to west over the last 70 years. We believe it's going to continue to go west. We also own the Omega, which has 600,000 ounces. Do the math. We're cheap. There's, what has changed since we were up here in the 30 cent, which, reflects market cap nearly $40 million? Well, nothing. The only thing is we did not have the success we had hoped for on our initial drill program. But we knew that's the case. That's exploration, folks, and that's the risk you take. But we're not giving up, far from it. Nothing has changed. We're going back there. We've got a drill program, and we're going to continue at it with this investment by Kirkland Lake Gold. So I think on a risk-reward basis, on a value basis, shareholders need to consider what we have, the team we have, the shareholders we have, the vouch of confidence that having groups like Eric Sprott, Kirkland Lake Gold behind us, they see what we see, and we're going to go forward. Now, let's speak to the team behind it. The OR group is led by myself. OR Finders, I'll point out here, is certainly relevant to the story of Mistango, because that's how we gained control and management and the board of Mistango was through an initial 31% interest in Mistango. It's been diluted down to about 19% since that back in 2019. But we've done so by taking a vehicle, Mistango, which literally had no cash. In fact, it had nothing but debt. The debt is gone, and the new management team is in, which is highly motivated. Certainly in a corporate perspective, from myself, I'm committed to making shareholders money and being successful. We're led technically by Keith Ben, Dr. Keith Ben, a structural geologist, very experienced in the area. Also, he is VPX of OR Finders. They're very similar in their missions, which is to define, acquire, and discover ore bodies in the Kirkland Lake camp. So I think we've got a committed, strong team, well aligned, significant shareholders we are, we're trying to create value by consolidating, discovering, and expanding. As I said, immediate focus is on our Kirkland Lake project. In time, we're going to get to the Omega, which is extremely strategic to the area. And then let's not forget, let me reiterate and emphasize, we have $7 million in our treasury, in Mistango's treasury, and we're not spending that on our projects. So what does that mean? Well, that means that the OR group and its clear track record of creating opportunities creatively will be well financed to do accretive transactions for the benefit of Mistango River Resources. So what does that mean? Well, that's the potential of new assets, mergers and acquisitions, something interesting and something substantive. We're not going to do something unsubstantial. We want to move the needle. That's for sure. We believe in consolidation. We believe in scale. So expect that to come. So a little bit about the strategic partnership with Kirkland Lake Gold. As I mentioned, $60 million to earn 75%. That puts us in a position where that ore body, which we believe is there, will be found with that money. In addition, they own 9.9% of us. So they are a partner. We're leveraging their expertise in the region. They've done substantial work understanding the ore body. They just discovered the South Mine Complex less than 10 years ago, after this ore body has been mined for 70 years plus. What does that say? Well, quite simply, there are all sorts of ore bodies left that are right under everybody's nose that have not been found. We believe we've got a position to be in that to be in that realm as well. So Kirkland Lake believes the same. I think the fact that they came and partnered with us in such a substantive way gives retail investors, those who can't do the level of due diligence that Kirkland Lake Gold does, gives them comfort to know that a very reputable and experienced group in the area, in the namesake area, sees it the way we do. We own our assets 100%, and Kirkland Lake is going to be spending that $60 million before we have to spend on our existing assets. Again, we can spend our $7 million how we see fit to create value for shareholders. Expect us to do that. Kirkland Lake District, it is world-class by no other definition. 40 million ounces of production, 25 million of that comes from the Kirkland Lake ore body itself. Again, I've said this many times, the 𝐾𝐨𝐬𝐷 is just the 7th mine to draw from this 25 million ounce deposit. It's gone from east to west. It began with the Toborn, and now it's the 𝐾𝐾𝐨. Perhaps the next, the 8th mine, we always say, could be on the Kirkland West project. It certainly wouldn't be unusual to expect that. So Kirkland Lake, great place to be. The main structure is the Cadillac or the Larder Lake Fault. There are subfaults called the main main break, the 04 break, and of course the South Mine Complex, which is just delivering absolutely phenomenally high grades to Kirkland Lake. Go back in the last 12 months, see all these intersections they've been publishing in the Kirkland Lake camp. And that comes from the South Mine Complex, which we believe has the ability to flow onto our property. That's why there was such tremendous interest, going back here, that, when we were just getting ready to drill, there was anticipation and hope that we could recreate that sort of success. Again, we didn't do it that time, but it was a very modest drill program. It got suspended early. We tried to drill 10,000. We only got 7,000 in because we had to shut down because of the spring breakup. But guess what? We're going back out there. This is a high-level look of Mistango's properties here. You can see this is what we get the most attention for. In gray here is the 𝐾𝐸 and the South Mine Complex in around here. This is our accumulated land package of what we call Kirkland West, and where these the confluence of breaks, where the 04, the main break, and the Cadillac Larder all come together. What appears on our project there. We're going to be doing more geophysics to refine our interpretation, but ultimately, we know from our last drill program, the 7,000 meters that we completed, we're hitting the right structure, and that's incredibly important. Is structure. That's where these gold, and that's a fault. That means where one type of unit interacts with another type of unit. In between there, you find these veins which host the gold. And that's where you want to be. And so we are drilling through the structure. We're drilling through the veins. Unfortunately, we haven't found any gold shoots yet, but we believe it's there. So this is not uncommon. This is exactly what we expected. Obviously, we would have hoped to hit it by now. But as I said, we're going back out there, and we're looking for wide, high-grade intersections that look like the 𝐾𝐸. Of course, I think Omega is an incredibly important part of our story. It alone, considering we've got a $12 million market cap right now, we have 600,000 ounces at about 2 average gram per gold. Near surface, these are not deep ounces, and this is an incredibly strategic asset. I mean, I think this asset alone is worth double, easily, our market cap today, let alone our position in Kirkland West, let alone our cash. So I think there's a huge amount of value that is real, that can be realized by shareholders who are willing to sit tight, wait for our drill programs to come in. We're down in the doldrums right now because we missed on a drill program. That's exploration. Take advantage of where we're going, not where we've been. That's how I see it. We zoom in here. This is, again, just the confluence of breaks, the main break amalgamated in the Cadillac Larder, all flow onto our property. These are the structures you want. It's incredibly difficult real estate to get a hold of. It's very valuable, and for good reason, because that's where the gold is hosted. Again, I've talked most about this, but long story short, the most important thing is we're getting off to kick off our drill program. We're starting with over 5,000 meters in this year, and we're going to be refining the model and following up on the structure that we drilled through, and trying to find ore shoots, gold ore shoots. We're in the right area. We know we're targeting successfully, but we just need to find that gold. Our Omega, again, 600,000 ounces, just under, high grade, open pittable, extremely strategic. The position we bought in Mistango was actually at one point in time was owned by 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐞's predecessor, because they viewed it as feed for their Upper Beaver deposit. In fact, this predecessor was Queenston, very well-known consolidator of its time. We're using their model of sorts. So they were taken out by 𝐸𝐤𝐤, and who we ultimately purchased our interest in Mistango, and overcame the odds with that proxy battle. But so Omega is very relevant to both ore finders, who has its 𝐸𝐤𝐤 deposit right next door. Unfortunately, on this mine, on this page, you can't see 𝐼𝐸𝐤𝐸, which is immediately adjacent to the east of 𝐸𝐤𝐤, ore finders 𝐸𝐤𝐤, and that is 11 million ounce producer, was the 𝐾𝐸 of its day. Very high grade, very profitable mine. Very storied. For those who don't know, it's been reinterpreted into a 6 million ounce 1 gram deposit. So the 𝐼𝐸𝐤𝐸 is going to have a new life. And I promise you, ore finder's position in 𝐸𝐤𝐤, and of course, Mistango's ownership of Omega and its 600,000 ounces are very strategic. If Omega is not going to be its own mine, and we do believe we can take it to 1 million plus, maybe more, it will be strategic to either the 𝐼𝐸𝐤𝐸 or 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐞, and their Upper Beaver. That I assure you, those are real ounces, former production, fairly substantial, about 250,000 ounces on it back in the day. These are what the rocks look like. It's very similar to the flow ore. Core produced what's called the green flow carbonate ore, very famous mineralization. We're looking for, again, blowouts, ore shoots here. Well understood geology, interesting looking rocks, sediment and pyroclastics. But you can get very high grade intersects when you hit the intersection of the sedimentaries and the volcanic contacts. So again, structure. Touch base here. This is the work we're doing on it. We see these targets here, A, B, and C. You can see where the resource is in between A. That's where we think we're going to expand it. And then there's the shear zone area, which hasn't seen much drilling, but it has some interesting geophysics. We do believe we can take this at 600,000 ounces now. We think we can take it relatively easily to 1 million and beyond. But let's start with 1 million ounces first. So we will be paying attention to this project. It alone represents more value than our market cap right now. The Kirkland West project and the cash, our partnership with Kirkland Lake, you're getting for free in the meantime. This is our team. Point out, of course, myself, I'm the chairman of the company. Most important, certainly on the ground, is Dr. Keith Benn, structural geologist and expert at finding ore bodies on behalf of Mistango River Resources. If you have any questions, my name is Stephen Stewart. I'm available and always look forward to speaking with shareholders, and I appreciate your time.